Story of Babatunde Folorunsho, the first armed robber to be publicly executed in Nigeria. The name Babatunde Folorunsho sounds nice and pleasant to the ears, but its bearer in history was actually a daylight terror and a nightmare to Nigerians in the early 1970s. Who was Babatunde Folorunsho? Babatunde Folorunsho was an armed robber and a hardened criminal who threatened the peace and security of Nigerians in the 1970s with his ruthless bandit group. He reigned almost the same time as the kingpin of Nigerian armed robbers, Ishola Oyanusi, also known as Dr. Rob and Kill. Babatunde Folorunsho was dubbed Baba Oni Lace, Mr. Lace, because of his strong love for lace outfits, which he even wore during robbery operations. During his horrific reign, Babatunde Folorunsho topped the list of the most wanted criminals in Nigeria. He was hunted by the police and local guards, but all to no avail. During this time, the crime rate was at its peak in the country as a result of the civil war that had just ended. Babatunde Folorunsho, alias Baba Oni Lace, seemed invincible, but unfortunately for him, he was nabbed by the police during a robbery operation on a fateful day in 1971. He was charged with robbing one Mr. Alfred Marshall of a car. The whole nation jubilated as Babatunde Folorunsho was finally caught in the web of the law. On the 8th and 13th of April 1971, Babatunde Folorunsho was tried and found guilty of highway robbery. The judge, James Agbula Ohomo, sentenced him to death by firing squad. The execution day came. It was on the 24th of July, 1971. Thousands of Nigerians rushed to the popular bar beach in Lagos where the execution was to take place. That was the first of its kind in Nigeria. It was around 1 p.m., and the sun was shining. Babatunde Folorunsho and two other criminals were conveyed to the execution ground in a lorry. The crowd was anxious and excited as well. In chains, Babatunde Folorunsho, who was dressed in lace, and other criminals were walked to the stakes and tied up. The other two criminals were Joseph Ilobo and Williams Alders Oyazimo. Joseph Ilobo, unlike Folorunsho, didn't accept fate easily. He protested till his last moment. At a point, he looked at the crowd and said, "Are all these people here to see me die? Ah, this is a wicked world. I have not committed any crime." Williams Alders Oyazimo was a sub-lieutenant in the Nigerian Navy. He protested his innocence in tears. He said, "If you search your conscience, you will know that a naval officer of my status will never go in the dead of the night to steal. I'll die today, innocent of the crime for which I am condemned." He was approached by the military chaplain, Colonel Pedro Martins, and asked to pray for forgiveness, but he said, "Father, I am innocent. My blood will cleanse my family, and my children will prosper." Oyazimo's last words touched Nigerians. It was such a pathetic moment. According to a source, Williams Alders Oyazimo could have been truly innocent. His execution was likely a result of personal feud with some officers of higher ranks. He and Joseph Ilobo were accused of robbing one Alhaja Taibatu Opin of a loudspeaker and record player valued at the equivalent of N320. They both pleaded not guilty, but were sentenced to death anyway. However, Oyazimo's words did not make the executors change their minds. A loud voice let out the command. Joseph Ilobo screamed, "Make Una go call that Alhaja, make she come see we die." Then a rain of bullets fell on the condemned trio's bodies. Their lifeless bodies were inspected, untied, and then taken away for burial. The whole of Nigeria celebrated the death of Babatunde Folorunsho, aka Baba Oni Lace, only to welcome more of his kind some years later.
I hope you enjoyed this story.